Hi everyone, and thank you to everyone who has subscribed and commented. Some of the comments I've found quite amusing, which has been great. There's been quite a few comments about the different servers and things that I've found on eBay and how I've managed to find them and stuff. And I've got another one here. I'll just show you it briefly because I'm currently just trying to clear out some space so I can actually mount a camera, a top camera just here, and then do a full sort of tutorial about this server, because this is just a bargain server, probably one of the best in terms of specs and what have you, more recent. It's a more recent kind of server. Let me turn this around and show you it. Following on from the video that I'm going to make about this server, I thought it would be really good to set up a Facebook group or a WhatsApp group, Telegram, something like that, so that I can share some of these servers with you and say, look, this is a good deal if you're into getting into Home Labs, or you know, they've got this on offer. Because one of the biggest problems with some of these deals is they come and they just go instantly, and it's, you can write scripts and you can do things to find keywords and all sorts within eBay, and there's other sites that you can actually search eBay much quicker, and it will load, you know, 50 pages instead of one, and things like that. So there's kind of tips and tricks, especially for eBay, because Amazon is mainly all new stuff. It does sell some renewed, but it's not as good, I don't think, as eBay. eBay for home labbers is definitely more to our liking, because, you know, things like hard drives are cheaper and SSDs are cheaper, sometimes second hand, practically all the time. So let me show you this server now. There she is. Now this is, I'll get the model number on off the top of my head. It's an Asus server, and this is on the 12th gen. The specs elude me, but I've just took off the elude me for now, but I've just took off the CPU, and when I saw the listing, I'm pretty sure it's DDR4, so this is quite recent. A lot of the servers that I deal with are all DDR3. If I can zoom in a little bit, maybe, if I can get the reflection off. What are we looking at? This is a Xeon E5, I can't read that, 26 something 4. So yeah, that's the chip that we're dealing with, which is a much more recent kind of build, and it does come with, over here we've got 2 SSD, you know, 2.5, could be hard drives or SSD. We've got 2 there, and then we've got another 3.5 tray here that's not currently got its power. This will need to be unclipped, and we've got 2 full-size 16 slots. They won't obviously get used in this unless you have a bracket, which I've got a bracket for one, but then that will block off the rest of the ports from being used. So, you know, you'd have to do some playing around with it if you wanted, say, I don't know, a couple of extra NVMe's. You would get a couple of side brackets, and then, you know, that would take up that, and then that. So it's definitely more usable, more modern than some of the systems that I've worked on. And we've got the these will, hopefully they're not too loud, because I like changing these for the kind of Noctua versions of them, which are generally not as loud. But I'm going to make a full breakdown on this server and booting it up, and then round back we've got, what have we got here? I can turn my camera, there we are. So we've got 3, I think they're gigabit, yeah, they look like gigabit to me, VGA port and some USB, and then a PS2 connection. So this will be really interesting. This will be fantastic for Proxmox, depending on what the NICs are. If the Intel NICs, then even better. VMware will work. You know, VMware would be quite nice on this to expand it as well. So that's kind of what I was thinking. And if you'd like to join up for the community, or you're interested, just leave a comment below. I'll figure out what platform I'll use it on Facebook mainly, but then I'm not. Some people don't use Facebook, so depending on, or Discord, depending on the comments, I'll kind of pick a platform and then set that little group up, just where we can share information about builds and stuff that we're doing. You know, I think a lot of building a YouTube channel isn't just about the person who is, say, making a video. It's about the community who helps each other with tech issues and problems and stuff. So yeah, that would be quite interesting. I was kind of thinking about stuff late at night, and I thought, wouldn't it be interesting if I could combine a server with a Hackintosh, a Rackintosh? And I was like, a Rackintosh? Yeah, we make a Hackintosh, but technically it's in a rack, and we call it the Rackintosh, and we spec it out because I've still got the Lenovo board. In a few videos previously, I've still got the Lenovo board here, and that was brilliant with OpenCore. It ran really well. I had an Intel NIC on board. You know, everything worked, and also I've still got the config for the GPU. I don't know if I ever released that video, but I made the config for OpenCore for that Lenovo system, which is the ThinkCentre TX1. I've got it down here, and then I managed to get an RX 460 working fully with hardware acceleration working, and I ran that for about 6 to 7 months, and it ran perfect. The only reason I changed it is because my 4K monitor, for some reason, OpenCore doesn't seem to like 4K monitors. You get popping sounds every so often, but when I switched it to this monitor behind me, which is I think a 2K monitor, it was fine, ran perfect. So I also wanted to add an update on the Supermicro. So if you remember last time, this is, let me just move this. I told you all about the Supermicro board that I was going to turn into a pfSense router, and I mentioned about the heat sinks and how I wanted to do some cooling on them. I figured out that solution. I've got some special Noctua fans, and then I've got some 3D models coming printed with a special filament that's a more heat resistant filament that the fans will sit on there. So I've got four fans. The model I got from Thingiverse, and that will sort the cooling out. The issue now will be the size of the roof on this, or the top of the roof. The size of the top on this. It might end up that the old motherboard goes back in this, and I find a different place for this board, different case entirely. But this is the original. This is the original server, the same board, same server. Now, this isn't sponsored by Bargain Hardware, but I'm gonna send them this video because I really do like their products. I like what they do. They're a great company. Check them out on eBay. Again, it's not sponsored at all. I just want to reach out and say they're a great company. I've never had any issues. So I purchased this for £107, and that came with a case. Around 107, it could have been 120, around that with postage and packaging. The caddies, and you'll notice that it's the exact same board. They might be sold out by the time I've ordered this one. There might only be a few left, so if you do want one, I'd probably run and get one now. But this is a fantastic platform. It's a 4th gen, and as you can see, it's going to be a bit louder than the Barracuda, but again, you know, you've got it's the actual official case for this, so you can see it's got a power supply in, it's got the back plane, everything ready. The heatsink they didn't have in stock, and they said, look, we can either cancel the order or we can include it without the heatsink. And I said, you know what, they're only £3, I've got loads of them. So I wanted it anyway, so they sent it. But what they have included is the actual side rails. So, you know, I give them the due. They say, okay, we're not got a heatsink, but we'll leave these side rails on. So that's a plus to me.
and it came with a PCIe card. So there was things like this where that wasn't advertised, but it came with it anyway. So that's what I mean. They are a great company. They go out their way to help customers. So this will be in a future build. I've got some plans of what I want to do with it. The last thing that I want to change in the be my actual rack. Let me turn this out. See the difference is massive difference with light when you turn that out. So yeah, the biggest problem that I'm gonna have now is space in the rack. I've decided, because I'm pushing ahead with the software side of the business and going down that route, I actually have 2 internet connections coming into the house. I've been looking at getting a Starlink or something like that to give me close to 300 megabits. With all 3 connections maxed out, I will get 300 megabits, which for people who've got full fibre to the property, 300 is like a bad day, a really bad day. But I'm only on VDSL 35B, I think it is, which is the good standard, but it's still terrible compared to fibre. But I think with all 3 connections and using something like Open TCP IP, I think it's called, and that means you can bond the connections together by bonding it here, but then having a server that all your internet connections run to, say in the cloud or Proxmox or something, and that bonds them and gives you that bandwidth. I think with all of that, I'll be able to launch the software side of the business a bit more. And there's a lot of businesses that they've not been online properly, they've not had an online presence properly, and because everything is moving in that direction, most businesses now are either online or they're known by word of mouth and things like that. I think it would be good to have an avenue where you can get a package to someone saying, look, we'll host your website, we'll build your website, we'll get you online, we'll help you with this and do this, and give them a bit of flexibility in that. That's not the only reason it's there. I think it's good to have a home lab to test and to build and to try new ideas and things like that. So that's what I want to try for this server. Have one for Proxmox because it does have that 10 gig. It does have all of that, but take it over from putting a new rack in, a big rack as much as I can fit in this room, and then racking all the big stuff up and then the small stuff on top, and kind of going from there. Then I'll sell these 2 smaller racks and go for the big rack.